larger burden than the states could place on their citizens, because their citizens are already paying federal tax. So there's only, so much, blood you can get from that stone, right? Or, water from that well. But since the federal government's not taking water out of that well, there's more there for the Puerto Rican government. Now, it would be great if Puerto Rico just took advantage of the fact that Puerto Ricans weren't paying federal taxes and didn't just replace that burden with its own burden. Just keep spending even lower, and just allow citizens to enjoy that added level of freedom and prosperity. But they did make that decision for new people that move here, like me, right? I moved here, and Puerto Rico made a deal with me. Hey, you move here, you come here from Connecticut, and we won't burden you with a 33% income tax. Because if they were going to burden me with a 33% income tax, that's not that much lower than what I was paying in Connecticut. Would it have been worth it to pick up and move? Now that I've actually lived here and know what it's like, I actually would rather live in Puerto Rico and pay 33% than live in Connecticut. And I was paying more because I'd pay 37 plus the Connecticut, like 45, 46. So I like living here, but it would be more expensive for me because I go back and forth. I still have a house in Connecticut, and all that extra travel costs and maintaining multiple homes, that would be much harder to do if I was still paying the federal income tax. But because I'm not, it makes it a lot easier for, this lifestyle to be possible. But a lot of people are only moving to Puerto Rico because they don't have to pay those taxes. Otherwise, it wouldn't be worth it for them to uproot their lives, to take their kids out of school and put them into new schools, and, to leave their friends and their family. You got to have a financial incentive to do that. And so Puerto Rico did that. And people are taking advantage of those incentives, and they're here. And more people are going to do it. I could see that. I can see it with my own. It's happening right now. Nathan Brady. Hey, Peter, what would you guess the percentage difference? Oh, I just did that one. All right. Peter, are you renting? Do you own your home? I own multiple homes. At this point, I own three. I own one in Connecticut, and I own two in Puerto Rico. I used to own a fourth. I owned a home I sold that one, but I actually have a fourth. So I have four. I have a small condo in Florida as well, where I have an aunt that lives there. My mom lives there sometimes, but she also spends some time with us here in Puerto Rico. She spends some time with us in Connecticut. So I have four residential properties. But yeah, they're not investments for me, although I've actually, on paper, made a lot of money on my Puerto Rican properties. I can sell both of my properties for more than double what I paid for them. That gives you an idea, because I haven't owned them for that long. I bought my condo in 2014. I bought my house in 2017. I can sell both for more than twice what I paid. I may be able to get triple what I paid. And I didn't buy these places, because I thought they would go up. I just wanted to live there, and I didn't feel like renting. Although, my house in Connecticut is still worth less than I paid for it. Even with it's had a big bump recently because of people fleeing New York. All of a sudden, the Connecticut market has picked up, but I still couldn't get my money out of it. I can get more than I paid to buy the house, but not, what it cost me to improve it. And of course, my property taxes are enormous over there compared to what they are in Puerto Rico. But I would have been much better off financially had I just rented my house in Connecticut all these years and never bought it. That's not the case in Puerto Rico. I'm actually much better off. If I sell, who knows? I'm not selling, right? People make offers to buy my properties, and I turn them down. But who knows, right? Because I haven't sold. So I haven't made anything. I haven't, because I haven't sold. So it's possible that by the time I do sell, the prices could be back down. I don't know. But if I were to sell now, I could end up getting a lot more money. And that's just because of the dynamic that's going on here with people coming down here and it's just supply and demand. There's just so much supply and there's tremendous demand. And I think that, the prices I paid for my properties, I think represented good value relative to what people would pay for similar type of properties in other parts of the United States, Southern California, Hawaii, Florida. I mean, I'm on the beach and, they're nice locations and things like that. So now the prices are getting closer to what you would pay in high-end markets in the U.S., although I still think there's room for appreciation here for Puerto Rico to kind of equal some of these other high-end markets, at least, where I am. But I mean, I would not recommend, I don't think people should buy a house as an investment. I think you can buy a house because you want to own one and you're willing to cover the cost. But I look at it as, as a cost. Now, the fact that these properties went up in value, they could have gone down. They happen to go up. And I think obviously there's a lot more risk now. Anybody coming to Puerto Rico now and buying a house, there's tremendous risk that the prices could come down. Much more, I think, than the risk that I had. So you got to make sure that if you're buying the house, you're okay with the price going down, right? It's, that you'll make more money or save money on taxes, and that will more than offset what you potentially could lose if the market went down. And people are now actually required to buy a house, to take advantage of some of these tax incentives. There was no requirement to buy a house before. Now you actually have to buy. So that puts more pressure on properties if people are forced to buy, even if they prefer to rent. They're forced to buy to take advantage of these some of these tax breaks. But I think the main benefit that people are going to have from their real estate is from their mortgages. Now, ironically, I don't have any mortgages. I have one mortgage still on my Connecticut property. I don't have any mortgages on my other properties. And so I'm not going to be able to get that benefit. But I think a lot of people, when they take out a mortgage, that's where they're going to win, because it's the debt that's going to get wiped out through inflation. So the loser is the lender, the person who owns the mortgage, who loans you the money to buy your house. They get screwed, because when you pay them back, the money they're going to get is not going to buy very much, relative to the fact that you were able to buy a house with it. So I think you end up making money as a debtor, not as a property owner. I think you'll lose money as a property owner. So if you buy the house for cash, like I did, I think, at the end of the day, even if my properties in Puerto Rico have gone up, I expect my gold to go up more. I expect my gold stocks to go up way more, my foreign stocks. So at the end of the day, I think that owning these properties are going to end up costing me net worth. Although that's not the case now, because they have had such big appreciation in a short period of time. But I think over a longer period of time, that's not going to be the case. But, I don't want to have all my money in stocks. Because I enjoy living in the properties, and there's a certain benefit that you derive from owning the properties. But there's a cost to that ownership, and nothing's free. But I at this point, I have enough money that I can afford to lose money on real estate if I end up losing money. And so I give people the same advice. Look, if you can afford to lose money on real estate, then buy it. If it makes you happy, if you like the property and you don't want to be a renter and have to move if your landlord decides that he wants to sell or he doesn't want you as a tenant, and you have to keep moving around. Now, there are benefits. For years and years I was renting, and people thought I was wasting money, but I thought I was getting a lot of benefits from being a renter. And a lot of times being a renter is exactly the right thing to do. And for a lot of people, renting is much better than buying, especially if you're cost conscious and you're just trying to do something that financially makes sense. If you're still trying to accumulate wealth, an obstacle to that might be home ownership. A lot of people think, oh, that's how you get rich, by buying a house. Buying a house could prevent you from getting rich if all your money gets sucked into your house and your house is a money pit. You can save money by renting, and then you can accumulate real wealth, while you're renting. Let me see, Peter, do you think of investing in Russia? Yeah, I recently purchased a Russian stock in my personal account. I think there's some upside there.